ICRT FM 100, that's 10,000 Emerald Pools from Bournes. It's 8 minutes past 10. Time for us to slide into our midweek, our Wednesday extended interview. This is the part of the program that we do on Wednesdays where we take some movers and shakers and people that do interesting things in and around Taipei and Taiwan at large and bring them in here and talk to them a little bit more. How do we say, Keith?
In depth?
In depth. We get an opportunity to talk about some things as opposed to just, bang, bang interview type of a situation. So what do we got today, Keith?
Well, we're going to start today, not by talking about them, but by talking about us for a couple of minutes.
We
never get a chance to do that.
Never get a chance to talk about me here.
So let's talk about you, Terry. Now, I am a huge fan of internet videos in general. I would say that I've been hardcore addicted to internet video consumption probably since 2006, 2007.
I am as well, I have to say.
You are as well, okay.
I spend probably more time watching internet videos or clips and, things like that than I do sort of any TV or movie,
Absolutely.
For sure.
At this point, it's Eclipse TV. What's your poison? What's your go-to? Or do you just go random?
No, well, I kind of go random. It's why I love Facebook. I've talked about this on the program before because, a lot of things. I guess my favorite... Jeez, and this is going to talk a lot about my personality. I hate to say this, but I love watching the fail army things. I like watching that. I like watching a lot of those.
A little bit of schadenfreude going on there.
Yeah, I hate that. I like comedy. So generally, fail army, I like some of the gag stuff that people do, some of the practical jokes. Some of them are good. Some of them go way too far. But that's the kind of stuff that I like. I also like, and this is really morbid, and I've been into this lately, are these like these cop videos, you know what I mean, of problems between police and
altercations.
Altercations. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. Altercations between police and people. I don't know why, but that's.
So you're a bit of a looky-loo on these internet
what are you
videos.
Into?
I'm a big college humor guy. I liked college humor for a long time.
That's good.
Any kind of sketch comedy I like a lot.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
I'm a big sketch comedy fan. I get into just binges of randomness a lot.
Yeah, me
where
too.
It's just like I'll get to an hour of watching videos and I'll be like, what did I just watch? Well, I don't even know what I just watched.
You're right. And I do that a lot of times too, where you'll start off watching one thing, you'll start off watching a, fail army. And by an hour later, because you've just followed links, you're watching, like whales talking to each other. Like it just really gets random that way.
All right. So we have established, you and I, big internet video consumers, lovers. Turns out Taiwanese folks as well. Also like internet videos a whole lot, but many of them are in English. Actually, like the majority of the videos that really take off in the world are in English from English-speaking countries, and this poses two problems. First of all, obviously, there's the language barrier there. There's also the cultural barrier. A lot of the references in these videos, a lot of the context for these videos just don't make any sense to people in Taiwan that didn't grow up in that environment. What to do? Well, there's one media company these days that's kind of working to bridge that gap. They go by the name of BC and Lowy. It's a YouTube channel, also a web page that has been doing a lot of work to translate these videos, and not just translate them, but also provide their users with the context for how to understand the humor and understand the jokes. BC there, that refers to Mr. Benson Chong. And Lowy, that refers to a Mr. Lowy Chung. So I figured these guys work. They're kind of looking at internet videos, which we have just established we love, and they work on cultural stuff. So this is right up our alley. So I invited them into the studio today. So Benson and Lowy, thanks for being here.
Benson and Lowy. Guys, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Glad to have you here.
Let's just right off the bat, let's get this out of the way. You have been introduced to these guys already. Can you point out which one is Benson and which one is Lowy?
Yeah, absolutely. Are they twins?
They are twins.
Okay, so yeah. I'm pretty sure this is Lowy and that's Benson over there.
Oh, he's good. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought I was going to get you.
Okay, so for folks that obviously can't see you guys are twins. I just realized that now. When I met you the first time, I didn't realize you were twins.
Yeah, identical. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, identical. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Thank
I appreciate
you so much
this.
for having us. Yes. Yeah,
this is what you guys do is a big part of what Keith and I do, believe it or not. This is it's very similar to what we do, where we like to think of the program, the morning show here on ICRT, as a cultural bridge. A lot of times I spend time, like I'm going to do later on with the Wow Taiwan, sort of talking about and, if you will, translating Taiwanese humor, or not humor, Taiwanese culture for our expat community that listens, not just here, but around the world.
Right.
And I also spend a lot of time translating Western culture and humor and things and music for the Taiwanese listeners here. So I think our roles are very similar. So great to have you guys on the program. This fits right in with the ethos, I guess, of the program here.
The stated mission.
Tell me a little bit about you guys and how you started doing this.
Okay, so I go first. Hello, everyone, and hello, Terry and Keith. Thank you for having us today. And I am Benson from BC Lowy, and it's really exciting that we get to be on the show and to talk about our work and our website. And so a little bit about myself. And I am an English major myself, so it's only natural that I do translating. And also, maybe I will let Lowy to give a brief introduction about himself, and then we go on.
Okay.
Okay, sure. Hi, everyone. And hi to all the listeners of the morning show. I'm Lowy of BC and Lowy. And I also English major, just like my brother, BC. And yeah, I first got into doing this kind of videos because I was really into a lot of US TV shows. Yeah, and also internet videos and like all sorts of random videos, just like Keith, just saying like, yeah, spend like an hour on the internet and watching videos. Yeah, that's what I did a lot of times. It's kind of my favorite pastime. To be honest.
Now, did you guys immediately recognize a need here in Taiwan? Maybe it was because your friends or whatever, they weren't understanding the videos. Where was it? At what point did you say, wow, there's a need for somebody to take these viral videos and help Taiwanese folks understand them?
Okay. Yeah, I want to give a little bit, share a little bit light on how I first started doing this. I feel like back in maybe 2008, at the time, it's not a lot of people in Taiwan that knew about stand-up comedy. At the time, it's already been like really established in the US, or like the Western world. Like, but in Taiwan, yeah, not a lot of people don't know about this type of comedy.
Right.
Yeah, so I got into that in college, and I become a huge fan of it. And I realized there's not a lot of people translating these kind of videos.
Yeah, it's very unique to Western culture, isn't it? Stand-up comedy.
Yeah,
At least I think it is. I from my understanding, stand-up culture or comedy is very unique to Western humor.
Yeah, because we have a kind of similar form in our culture. It's called 相声. Yeah, it's like
It's
two
pretty
people.
different, though.
Yeah, it's pretty different. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, it's different in a lot of ways. But yeah, I got into stand-up, and then I think it's a shame that a lot of people in Taiwan, they don't watch this because, there's no translation.
Right.
And because of the language barrier, so they cannot understand the content and the jokes and all that. So, yeah, I feel like it's like a good opportunity for me to like kind of start doing this.
How did you recognize the need for it, though? Was it just because you didn't see it online? Was it your friends saying, "Boy, you would talk about these videos," and they go, "Well, I don't watch that. I don't understand that." How did you know, or how do you know that there's a need to kind of translate it to Chinese?
Oh, because I feel like Taiwan is really big on like Western entertainment.
Right.
Always. I mean, it's like, we watch mostly Western movies. I mean, maybe recent years it's starting changing, but before, like, we watch a lot of movies of Hollywood. So there's always a need there. But internet videos kind of like started after YouTube took off.
Yeah, right.
So it's like a newer thing.
Okay.
So I feel like, there's definitely a need there. And then we feel like no one was doing that at the time. So yeah.
Yeah, to add what Lowy just said, I want to take an example. When I first starting out, I remember that my first video is a sketch from Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
Yeah, and I love that show. I've been watching it forever.
Yes. Yeah, one of my faves. Okay, good.
Yeah, and I translate this video and then I put it online, and surprisingly it got really well received.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you did have a little bit of a gauge there. You could see you did this. It had some good response. What skit was it? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's about a high school musical. It's a parody on High School Musical.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's a lot to explain there.
Yeah.
I would imagine. I mean, and this kind of gets to a question that I wanted to ask you guys is, comedy is famously one of the most difficult things to translate of all. And you know that you really have mastered a language once you can make people laugh in that language. So how did you feel like you got to the point where you understood this culture well enough that you could translate it? I mean, did you spend time in the U.S.? Did you just read a lot of books? How did you really engage with this stuff?
Okay, so back in 2010, I was at UC Berkeley for this exchange program.
Okay.
I stayed in Berkeley for 1 year.
Okay.
And then, so I got to learn a lot about the American culture there, and then I meet a lot of people. So that's how I really got into the cultural context of the United States, and that particular year. And then I've been I have been always a big fan of all kinds of sitcom, all kinds of like sketch show.
Yeah, right.
Growing up, so that also helps, and while I am translating all these video.
Yeah, right. Okay, good. Excellent. Well, you guys have put together a media company, BC and Lowy, and you guys primarily translate a lot of these internet viral videos, if you will. We're going to move into a little bit more cultural discussion in a second, now that we kind of have met you guys. So just to give the listeners a little heads up, we're going to be talking about some of what makes a good viral video here in Taiwan, some of the humor behind it, what we might understand and what we might not. But stay right there, guys. We've got to take ourselves a very short break. A minute, we'll be back with that. This is Benson and Lowy. They are from BC and Lowy, a media company that helps translate viral videos and entertainment videos and internet videos at large. So we'll be back in a moment. We are amidst our midweek extended interview right here on The Morning Show with Terry. We return to The Morning Show with Terry here at 10:24 in the morning. We are amidst speaking with BC and Lowy, who help translate viral videos, internet videos, into Chinese so that they can be appreciated here as much as they are the world over. We already talked about some of the barriers that might prevent them from. I would imagine a lot of the work you guys do is probably comedy, as these seem to be big internet videos seem to be comedy, or a good part of the viral videos.
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Like a majority of our video is comedy.
Okay, good. Then we can start here, because I'm always curious about, and we talked a little bit about this off air, about what kinds of humor Taiwanese people understand from the West, what kind they don't. Let me just talk about me a little bit for a moment, if you don't mind. Like I have a hard time sometimes understanding Chinese humor. Of course, I understand how it's based and how, you know, the humor kind of works, but I don't always understand the joke, because there are a number of things that I don't understand. I don't understand maybe the history behind some of the references. I don't understand the what we might call the register of the joke, meaning, you know, where it's told or in what situation it's told. I might not understand the context of it. I might actually not understand the words. So
a lot of barriers there.
There are a lot of things, you know, that would prevent me from really understanding Chinese humor, even though I might think I do. So talk about some of the types of humor that Taiwanese people might not understand from the West, or what you guys have found that Taiwanese people don't think are funny.
Okay. First, I want to point out like take Japan for example, like they have a really unique kind of sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sometimes we Taiwanese cannot even appreciate, and so same thing for British humor.
Yeah,
like
right.
It always to be considered as a dry humor. So it's because Taiwanese people don't really get to see those kind of humor on our TV show or like even some other medium. So we are not familiar with that kind of humor.
So you would definitely identify dry humor and British humor as something that Taiwanese people don't understand. Don't worry, we don't understand it sometimes either from Canada.
And yet, our listeners still seem to think that Gavin is pretty funny.
Yeah,
So
I know.
Something about it. He manages to jump that gap somehow. So it sounds like you're saying though that U.S. humor in particular, Taiwanese people are more familiar with.
Yeah, because one thing that the thing about American humor is that it's more straightforward. Yeah,
right.
I feel like I've just been called dumb.
Yeah. So you're right. It's a little more in your face, right? It's a little more. Here it is. It's a little more shallow. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm
Shallow in a good way.
I'm North American as well. But what I mean is, the jokes are really call and response, and they are right there.
Yes.
There's nothing to think too much about. The humor is very light. And is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, I think so, yes.
And is this the type of thing that Taiwanese people respond to? It sounds like that's what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, our fans respond to shows like SNL or like Key and Peele a lot better than, say, certain videos from BBC.
Right.
Yeah. I think there's a really famous BBC sketch. It's about BlackBerry, the cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's about like an old man like going to a fruit shop and say, I want to buy a BlackBerry.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's actually looking for a phone.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just based on that misunderstanding.
Right, that
But-
he's looking for fruit versus a phone. Yeah,
But
okay.
it's really, really dry. I feel like, a lot of Taiwanese people don't, I mean, because they are not really familiar with that kind of humor, so, it kind of like went right over their head,
Now let's talk about maybe what kinds of humor they do respond to. Taiwanese people. What types of elements of Taiwanese humor are similar to that from the West that they might respond to a little better?
Maybe sarcasm.
Sarcasm. Okay.
Sarcasm is one, and also like.
It's interesting you say that because I find that Chinese and Taiwanese people are really not sarcastic
I
and
know.
really don't understand sarcasm in a daily conversation way.
Right.
Yeah, they totally understand sarcasm.
Yeah, totally. They really get
They
it.
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of want to disagree with Benson on this one. Yeah, I feel like,
Go ahead.
I mean, sarcastic humor is really not like the main jokes that Taiwanese people like.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as long as it's really straightforward, as long as it's really maybe sometimes a little bit physical.
Physical.
Yeah, physical.
Right.
More like a visual component to it.
Yeah, also like the way the performer deliver the joke.
Right.
Like, I remember like I translate a lot of Kevin Hart videos.
Okay, Kevin Hart.
Yeah, and his style is very physical. There's a lot of movements, a lot of body language, and like, his tone is really like up and down, and like there's always a punchline.
There's a lot of dynamic to what he does. It's you're right.
Yeah.
So are you then saying maybe Taiwanese people are identifying with those sort of visual cues more so than the actual words? Or, for example, Kevin Hart, do Taiwanese people or your audience, do they understand the jokes that Kevin Hart makes?
Because a lot of them are like racial jokes that are very specific to, pointing out problems in American culture.
Right. There's another thing that we basically we do a lot. Like, whenever there's like a cultural reference that we think Taiwanese people might have trouble understanding, we would explain in our on our website. Yeah. And,
Okay, right. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
So this is not just, and what you guys do is not just translating the words or the jokes, but you actually give some context to some of these jokes.
yeah. I feel like for some reason this is based on our experience, but Taiwanese respond to racial jokes very, very well.
Really?
Yeah, very well.
That's
Like,
true. Yeah.
yeah, whenever the videos about like racist situation or like racism, yeah, it's always like got really positive response.
Yeah,
Always.
right. Right. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing, well, Kevin Hart is probably Kevin Hart and Chris Rock.
Yeah, Chris Rock. Yeah, it's
These
like-
guys do a lot of that type of humor. So, and you're saying the Taiwanese really respond to that.
Yeah, for some reason we're still trying to figure out a reason behind it because, yeah, in Taiwan I feel like I wouldn't say we don't have a racism problem here, but it's different than
You have a different kind of
Yeah, different,
racism
yeah, yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
and people. Yeah, it's really different than what in the US. But yeah, we're still trying to figure out the reason, why people respond to it so well.
Yeah, right. No, that's totally interesting. I find that totally interesting. Okay, so when you're talking about the context of some of these things, and this is a question I have, like when I see on Netflix, because sometimes I kind of get the translations and sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
So if when you look at the subtitles on the bottom of, say, a stand-up thing, are those subtitles themselves explaining the joke, or are they actually translating the words? Because I'm kind of at a loss, because I'll see people, I'll go to a movie. Here, this is an example. I'll go to a funny movie in the theater, and a lot of times I hear Taiwanese people laughing, and I go, "There's no way that they could understand that joke." So,
right.
is it in the writing? Is it or are they saying something different in Chinese to kind of fill in for that joke?
Right.
Okay, so the most important thing in translating is you had to in order to make this kind of joke works, you had to find a perfect counterpart in Chinese language. So, for example, like if a video where they mention Bob Hope.
Right, okay.
Yeah, okay. So you had to find a experience or host in our in Taiwanese community. So
really?
Yeah, so people can recognize it like immediately when they see that. So they will get a joke.
See, this is interesting. Now, so you guys,
Who is that?
out of
I
curiosity.
think maybe Zhang Fei.
Yeah, Zhang Fei.
Okay, so you guys will actually kind of go in and create the humor yourself. You have a certain element that you guys go and create, because you're right. That's a great example that you said that, because I always think that too. I'm always thinking that reference. I'm like, there's no way anybody knows who Bob Hope is,
Right.
and so there's no way that they could understand that joke, no matter what, because there's just no reference to Bob Hope here. So you'll actually go in and kind of change it.
Yeah, but there's also a situation where you cannot really translate the perfectly, like a knock-knock joke.
A knock-knock joke. Okay, right.
Joke. Yeah, so we don't really have this kind of joke in Chinese. So we had to like translate the word like you just say, like translate as it is.
Right.
And the comedy effect will become not as good as the other one.
Right. As the original version of a knock-knock joke.
Yeah.
No, that's completely interesting.
Yeah, and I want to add, we don't always stick to the script, the original script, or we don't translate word by word. We do more like we make like reference to Taiwanese culture or like current event when we feel like there's it's a chance for us to do that. Like we sometimes like maybe we work in President Ma Ying-jeou into our translation. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because
I'm sure very respectfully.
yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I feel like that's what we should do. Yeah, but but yeah, a lot of people don't really know the U.S. politics. So if we translate word by word, then people would not get the joke.
Yeah,
So,
right. Because I would imagine, Kevin Hart and Chris Rock and these guys that you're saying where it resonates here in Taiwan, they probably have a lot of political humor, or there must be some
Chris
element
Rock,
of political
yes.
humor to them.
So, Just looking back on the videos that you guys have worked on, I mean, you've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds at this point. What sticks out to you as something that was particularly difficult to translate, or you had to be particularly creative to find a way to make that humor still happen in the Chinese subtitles?
The one thing that I find the most difficult to translate is probably the one that has a lot of political reference to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because like for example, like the presidential election is coming in United States, and
So you guys have a lot of work in front of you.
yes,
Right.
but that's why I want to mention this is because this kind of political comedy is not really well received here in Taiwan.
Yeah, I would imagine not. People, even though people may know who Trump is, they probably
Right.
don't understand the way that we kind of see him. So
Yeah.
even if they know who he is, they still don't understand that context in which we see him.
Yeah,
Right.
like some people think Trump is funny, but it's kind of funny in a scary way.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
there's a weird funny to it. Yeah, no question.
We're funny too. So it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to like translate that kind of popularity from the United States into Taiwanese audience.
Right. So do you avoid things like that? Do you just not do them and just focus on something else, or do you still try and
What we do most of the time, just avoid the video we don't think is going to work in Taiwan.
right? Okay. All right.
Uh,
Is there can you give us an example of a particular video that you might have seen that you just went, okay, we can't do that. Let's not do that.
There's a one about like the lip sync of the GOP debate.
Like
Oh yeah, right,
like
right.
a bad lip reading. Those
Right,
ones?
right.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
okay, that's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
so for folks that are listening that don't understand, bad lip reading videos have been very popular in the past few months, where basically they take some sort of either news clip or some sort of news event, and people will dub in their own words. And you're talking about the GOP debate.
Yeah.
Where people did the bad lip reading and substituted their own words, and you're right.
And they just give them all really dumb voices.
Yeah.
They're great.
Yeah, I guess it would be very hard for people to understand that humor, even the overlying humor, never mind the actual jokes of that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
because we don't have a left wing, right wing in Taiwan, so it's hard for people to understand why. Like, what's the principle belief of GOP and what's the
Yeah,
of,
right.
the Democrat. So you don't understand that, then you don't understand a lot of jokes. You know,
Of course, yeah. If you
Yeah.
don't understand the underlying concept,
Yeah.
the jokes don't even matter because you're not going to get any of them.
yeah.
it's true.
Here's one video I was really surprised to see on your website. In the U.S., I think a lot of people will recognize Auto-Tune the News, where basically we take news videos that are kind of ridiculous, and then they make it sound like some weird
right,
techno
right.
song or something like that. I saw a lot of those videos on your website. A lot of them are like they're interviewing somebody that has a very funny response to the questions, like maybe their house just burned down and they have a really weird reaction to that. I was surprised to see that because I'm not sure exactly how, especially for an auto-tune thing, like I'm not sure what the joke is that would be getting across to Taiwanese people. So what do you guys think? Is that good for a Taiwanese audience?
Oh yeah. The video you just mentioned, the one about her house got burned down, and then like she gave an interview to a journalist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because Taiwanese people are really fond of
Expressive.
the way certain African Americans
Express themselves.
talk.
Mhm.
Like-
Yeah, oh, right. The way they express themselves.
Yeah.
It's very dynamic.
Yeah, it's
There's
really-
a lot
yeah.
of. Yeah, no, you're right. Actually, Keith and I were talking about this at some point anyway, where, yeah, you're right. There's a lot of African Americans. I think about Chris Tucker, from
Right,
Rush Hour, where African American comedians just seem to have a lot more dynamic to them. Kevin Hart, a lot of facial expressions, a lot of falling down,
Yeah.
a lot of that sort of thing.
Because Taiwanese people make comments about like when they are just talking, it even sounds like they are rapping.
Yeah, right.
Just like this is a rhythm. There's a like a musical sense to it.
Right. I mean, yeah, okay.
And
Yeah.
in some ways that translates a little bit more easily.
Yeah. Like Taiwanese people already like the kind of way we're talking, and then it's auto tune. The song is catchy, so yeah, just got a lot of good stuff going on for the video already. So yeah.
Okay, interesting stuff. Well, here's what we're going to do now. We're going to take ourselves a little bit of a break. When we come back, we're going to have a video up here. Now, the folks at home obviously are not going to see the video, but what we're going to do is we're going to kind of play this video, and we're going to have you guys kind of talk us through it. Some of the things that you think would be funny about the video, some things that Taiwanese people might understand versus might not understand, and kind of walk through what you guys think about when you maybe see a video for the first time, or you start to think about how you're going to translate it. So we're going to do that in just a few moments here. You're amidst the midweek extended interview here. We have Benson and Lowy, who translate internet viral videos. We'll be back in just a moment. 10:44 in the morning. We're talking about translating internet videos, primarily comedy videos, into something that Taiwanese people can understand a little more clearly. And there are certain types, we have found out, certain types of videos that work, some that don't. We're going to kind of go through a real-time process here. What are we going to do?
Well, there's a method to the madness, apparently. You guys are hard at work every day translating these videos, hundreds and hundreds under your belt. So what we've asked you to do right now is to pick one of the videos that you like in particular and walk us through your process of how you would make this accessible to your audience. So you've loaded one up. Tell us a little bit about the video that you've chosen.
Oh, okay. So this video is basically President Obama giving a speech in the last year's White House correspondent dinner. And what's funny about this video is that Keegan-Michael Key from Key and Peele, the famous comedy duo, appear on this event as Obama's anger translator. And yeah, this is one of the most popular video we have last year, actually.
Okay, all right. Well, let's just play a little bit of it so we know what we're dealing with here.
All right, we're going to launch into this video.
You know, I often joke about tensions between me and the press, but honestly, what they say doesn't bother me. I understand we've got an adversarial system.
Okay.
I'm a mellow...
Let's pause here. What Obama just mentioned something about
adversarial system, yeah.
Adversarial system, and we on our website we give a footnote about this system, primarily because I think the Taiwanese audience will not be familiar with this kind of system, because I think that we use a different kind of system in Taiwan, here in Taiwan, I believe.
So this is going back to how politics works in different countries. They don't have that context to understand exactly how that works.
So you put this in the footnote? Is that what you do in one of your videos?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So this is not actually part of some of the translation, but this will be a footnote on the side or as a link or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the side, yeah.
All right, we'll continue here.
...sort of guy. And that's why I invited Luther, my anger translator, to join me here tonight.
Okay, actually, I'm going to ask you to stop here. So who is he brought out here?
So this is, I know this way too well. I'm a huge Key and Peele fan. This is Keegan, the tall guy from Key and Peele, and they've had this long-standing joke where Luther is translating Obama's inner rage into terms that we can all understand, because we all know that Obama is a rather reserved individual.
Okay.
Your lily white butts.
All right. So
I think I know why he just stopped it.
Yeah.
So maybe
Who wants to explain lily white butts to our audience?
Okay. So obviously it's a prime example of how some African American express themselves, but I didn't mean it in a bad way. Like, they are more expressive. They are more like they use colloquial expression more. And this is one of them. Like, instead of telling people to sit tight, they tell people to hold on to their little white butt.
So how did you actually translate that then?
Okay, so I had to say. I remember, like, I remember the actual translation is like, okay, let's see. I had to.
On to your lily.
Okay, so actually I make a reference to the how do you say it, vegetable.
You can say it in Chinese if you want.
Yeah, say it in Chinese. Tell us in Chinese.
The vegetable then 豆芽菜 because
黑心豆芽菜.
Yeah, bean sprouts.
Yeah,
Okay.
bean sprout. Yeah, because during that time I remember like
There's a scandal about like the 豆芽菜being like they use a bleach.
Yeah, bleach to
make it-
whiten them up.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you
Oh.
So why so we make a reference there to incorporate with white.
Basically, he translated as like, hold on to your butts that's wider than those bleach.
Your bean sprout butts.
Yeah.
Basically. So tell me exactly in Chinese what it says there. What's the translation exactly?
Okay, so it is 夹紧你们比黑心豆芽菜还要白的屁股，仔细听好了。So listen carefully.
Well,
So you guys really are creating something new.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm actually fascinated by this because you're right. You guys actually took. Not only were you able to kind of translate it into Chinese where people would understand it, but there was also actually sort of a contemporary reference and something that was quite topical actually at the time. So. That's actually quite creative. Now that because we're familiar with the bean sprout scandal and the fact that they were bleaching them and whatnot and to make them whiter. And this is, you know what, that's actually genius. You know what I mean? Now that I'm kind of thinking about it, that's a
First translation, and we've already found some.
yeah,
genius.
translation number one. Bam. That's pretty good, guys. That's actually great stuff. Okay, sorry. Continue. Let's get to the next one here.
White butts.
Just keep playing that over and over again.
In our fast-changing world, traditions like the White House Correspondents' Dinner are important.
I mean, really?
So like I said, this is an annual event that White House will host annually. The White House Correspondent Dinner, and a lot of celebrities will appear on this event, and then of course a lot of reporters that they are like usually do a story on White House will appear there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what Obama is just explaining to them.
Yeah, but he make a full note about that because this is not real thing in Taiwan. We don't have it in Taiwan.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so people kind of get confused about what this event is about.
Okay, gotcha.
What is this dinner?
And then there it is. Yeah.
Am I required to come to it?
So you can hear there, even in America, we think this thing's a little dumb.
Okay, so now that also puts your translation into context here, where now we don't have something here in Taiwan, and then the reference over here is why am I going and whatnot.
There's a lot to unpack there.
There is, and geez, I'm really kind of impressed that you guys have to kind of inject your own humor into it and kind of find not only what's funny with the clip itself, but then go ahead and find something that's funny and relatable in Taiwanese culture.
Yeah, like basically the challenge about our job is how to make this already funny video even funnier.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like it's like to use your access to the Chinese language to like to
your advantage.
Yeah.
Because I feel like for us, we know about the Western culture, but we come from Taiwanese culture, so we got both, so we can like use that to our advantage.
Okay, give us one more example here, because we're kind of running out of time, sadly. But give us one more example here. Here we go.
Okay. Do you want to go to a full note to see?
Because despite
Okay, let's jump to another example if we can. Sadly, we're running out of time here, but I find that just absolutely fascinating. Just the need to completely find a reference in Taiwanese or to a Taiwanese audience, so that it's funny there as well.
You always have to come up with new analogies.
Yeah.
and
there are differences,
actually,
we count on the press to shed light on the most important issues of the day.
And we can count on Fox News to terrify old white people with some nonsense.
Okay, so we can stop. We can start here. We're going to talk a little bit about Fox News and why, like, they mention white people. Because in Taiwan, people don't really know what's all these news channel, what their stance is. So,
Right.
Yeah. So we kind of like give explanation, rough explanation in our footnote to explain that Fox being a little bit more right wing, and a little bit more conservative. So like.
Seems to appeal to a
stereotype.
certain stereotype in America, right?
Yeah.
Which we wouldn't understand here. So you have to go through and
And when I was translating, I try to like use Taiwan current like
Political situation because we only have like either you are pro DPP or you are pro KNT. We don't have a left wing, right wing in Taiwan.
Right.
Yeah. So I think there's a kind of thing that you need to explain to the audience
in order for them to get that one little joke. So that's a lot
yeah.
of explaining for just a
With
little
just a
one-liner.
joke.
Yeah.
When you translate it, did you translate it as Fox News or did you translate it as something in Taiwan?
Originally, we're trying to find like a Taiwanese equivalent to Fox News, but we don't have it, so
It's just too different.
Yeah, it's really different. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's better just to explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the actual joke then? What was the line when you say about white people in Fox News?
Okay, so
We can count on Fox News to
you mean the Chinese?
Yeah.
With-
Okay, so they mentioned about nonsense, so we use 狗屁不通.
Okay.
Okay, so it means nonsense in Chinese, and so we can count on Fox News. So in Chinese, it basically is the same thing, but about white people, we use 快作古. 作古 means like it's dying, it's about to die. It's really like a really how to say proper, formal way to say a person is dying. So 作古.
Okay, all right. And that is in reference to their paleness? Is that what it is? Yeah, okay. All right. Okay. So again, you've had to kind of change the humor in order to get people to kind of fully appreciate the joke and the context in which it's in. I think this is fascinating stuff. I mean, we got to have you guys back so we can do some more videos like this. But
None of these translations reflect well on me or other Americans.
but we got to move on, guys. Sadly, we got to move on. The news coming up right here at 11. But I tell you what, we'll definitely invite you back, and we'll do this again. This has been very
Informative.
enlightening. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Coming at the top of the hour, we have the news. Your themed request will follow that. You'll have to stay tuned. I'll give you the theme right off the top of the hour, and we'll continue with more morning show here on ICRT. News coming up next, folks.
I said,